What's going on, guys? This is Mike from Tiny Box Vape Shop, and today I want to talk to you about what you personally can do to fight these flavor bans. Okay, so here's the problem, guys. Every day a new study comes out that's talking about how vaping's bad. They don't talk about, bootleg THC cartridges. They don't talk about the Juul. They just show sub-ohm open devices like you or I use. And it's giving the vape industry a horrible name. You turn on the news, the politicians, the media, they all have nothing but bad to say.
But people are dying with vaping.
Missouri Thursday announced its first vaping-related death.
I mean, I know a lot of kids who vape, young kids.
My recommendation, do not vape.
A seventh person has died from lung illness related to vaping.
While meanwhile, across the pond, our cousins in England, they understand the science behind vaping. They actually do testing annually on these products. They make sure all of them are safe, and they say something completely different than we say in the United States.
A new report this morning, scientists are hailing e-cigarettes to be far safer than normal cigarettes.
Yeah. E-cigarettes are much less harmful than smoking tobacco cigarettes.
I was coming in this morning and the driver of the cab turned out to be a vapor, and he switched 18 months ago. He said it was easy for him. He just picked up his vape, put down his fags, never smoke again. And that was great. And I said, well, that's the thing to do. Keep that up.
And I think we all understand that it comes down to one thing, and that one thing is money. When you have a government that can be controlled by big interest, politicians seem to change their mind. Lobbyists can change their mind. The state bonds that the tobacco companies have given them, all of these things are coming into play in the argument, but it's all seemingly irrelevant because it doesn't seem like science or rational thought or any of these things or logic are coming into play. And I think that's what's driving us all so much more nuts. And it makes us feel a little more scared. So today what I really want to talk to you guys about is a hero out in Butler, Pennsylvania named Ben Osterling. He owns Kingdom Vapor. Now I know you've seen all kinds of vape advocates and they look very educated and they speak really eloquent, but they're not accomplishing a lot. So many times they're not accomplishing a lot. I went up to Harrisburg when they were putting the 40% tax on us, and I was there with the protesters, and it didn't seem to accomplish a lot. But Ben took on the Pennsylvania government all by himself. Him and his little company out in Butler, Pennsylvania, they stood up to the big government, and guess what? They won. So if you're wondering how you can do that, or you're wondering how he did that, I went down there to Kingdom Vapor. I talked with Evan Shale, who's one of his sales representatives, and we talked the whole thing through. And then at the end of the video, you'll see Ben himself where, I give him a dap and I say, how's it going? And I want you to know this. If you're in Pennsylvania, you need to be buying from Kingdom Vapor because they saved you a boatload of money. They changed the vape laws in this state by far. And Ben is a normal person. Ben isn't a genius lawyer. Ben isn't a rocket science. I'm not saying Ben's not a smart guy. I'm not saying Ben's not a good businessman. But we're not talking about a Rockefeller. We're not talking about a Fortune 50 company. We're not talking about a titan of industry. We're talking about a normal dude who's just like you. And he stood up to the government and he won. Going in the video, you're going to see me asking Evan how much the lawsuit ended up costing. And in my mind, I was thinking it was going to be somewhere around $500,000 or somewhere around there, but it wasn't. I talked to Ben later. He gave me permission to tell everybody. It was he said he spent in between $20,000 and $30,000 on his attorney fees, and it was worth every penny for all of us. And I just want to thank you personally, Ben. I want to tell everybody in Pennsylvania, if you're not buying from Ben, shame on you. He's the one that kept your vape shop open. And let everybody know, Kingdom Vapor, if you're looking for the model on how to fight your state, look at Ben, look at Kingdom Vapor. They did it on a very low budget and they won. They destroyed just the tyranny of our state and got a lot of our money back and took away a very unfair tax that had already been put into place. All right, so we're gonna watch the interview with Evan and then I'll come back and say goodbye to you guys, but let's watch this interview together. What's going on? It's Mike from Tiny Box Vape Shop, and then I got Evan here from Kingdom Vapor. And today, you guys, I'm down here at Kingdom Vapor in Butler, and I wanted this to be the fifth part of our How to Start a Vape Shop series to show you where to purchase product. But if you are starting a vape shop, this is where I've been buying a lot of my product is Kingdom Vapor. They got great pricing, great customer service, always quality, way above the board. And in this industry, Evan, you know as well as I know, there's a lot of people who are not above the board. That can't be said about you guys. You guys, 100%. Well, and the reason why I want to talk with you guys, especially you, Ev, is because you're so knowledgeable as to what's going on in vape advocacy right now. And you guys actually took on the state of Pennsylvania. So do you want to talk about that for just a sec? So when you took on the state of Pennsylvania, they put the 40% tax on us, and you guys did a lawsuit against the state of Pennsylvania?
Yeah, basically the state of Pennsylvania put in a law in 2016 that it was written very black and white, but the Department of Revenue, not understanding these products, and this is kind of the problem that we're running into nationally right now and on specific state levels, as far as like flavor banning and things, is that the politicians, they're not familiar with what these products are, how they're used, who's using them, and so forth. So this law gets written very specific about what's to be taxed, what's not to be taxed, and our Department of Revenue, not understanding the products, basically threw their hands up in the air. Tax it all because we don't know.
Yeah, batteries, 18650 batteries.
We don't know what that is. What's an 18?
Chargers.
So rather than getting educated, they basically created a situation where they were taxing against what the law was essentially allowing the state to be taxing.
And everything was taxed at that time, you guys. If you're not from Pennsylvania or you don't own a shop in Pennsylvania, drip tips, tanks, boxes.
There were shops that were getting harassed by Department of Revenue for, hey, did you pay your 40% tax on your Pepsi Cola that's in your refrigerator?
Yeah.
I mean, literally, like some of these guys from the Department of Revenue took it to that level of, oh, you got packs of crackers to sell to your customers. Did you pay your 40% on that?
Well, because of the floor tax. So what had happened was when it started initially, everything in your shop you had to pay 40% on. And as a vape shop owner, we all kind of understood it was 40% on what was a vaping product, or that's what we understood. And what Evan's talking about is when people didn't pay their floor tax or their concurrent tax on sodas, crackers,
everything,
18650 batteries, unit T-shirts, they were getting taxed on that as well. So anyway, so how did Kingdom Vapor get involved?
So we obviously, from being from Pennsylvania, we have a lot of clientele here in Pennsylvania and a lot of great friends that we've made over the years that, potentially we're going to go out of business, because of this tax, being very burdensome. So we read through the law and, understanding how the products are, was very specific that when it came to hardware, unfortunately, e-liquid, it was tight. It was tight as a dolphin's butt.
Yeah.
Okay. And actually there's items that technically should be getting taxed in Pennsylvania that aren't.
Okay.
But we don't want to talk about that. So when it came to hardware though, it was very specific that in order for it to get taxed, it must contain a heating element, battery, or circuit. Was the verbiage of the letter of the law, the black and white portion. The Department of Revenue, not understanding that, again, interpreting, they decided we'll tax it all. So those drip tips didn't contain a heating element, battery, or a circuit.
No.
A battery by itself has that covered, but no heating element or circuit. So, there was just a lot of issues that was like, well, that's not actually accurate. So we had reached out to a organization that was here in Pennsylvania at the time and had talked with them about it. Their attorneys on a federal level.
Now, were they a vape organization as well?
Yeah, okay. a advocacy group.
Okay.
That's not in Pennsylvania anymore.
And real quick, just to kind of specify for people who don't know, when we're saying batteries, what we actually mean isn't like a mod itself. We're talking about the battery that goes inside it, an 18650 or 21700 or the 26650, the battery that actually goes inside your mod. This battery, which also is used in flashlights, we were being taxed on. But anyways, go on. So you met with an advocacy group.
Met with one of the advocacy groups that were here. Their national branch, lawyers looked over the law and they were like, yeah, we're reading it the same way. That it's specific to a complete, ready-to-sell, retail packaged kit. just add juice, or maybe the juice is already included, that it's vapable right out of the package.
Like a pod system or something.
Exactly, like pod systems, Juul.
Yeah.
If you're buying the full package, Juul or something like that as well. But they said that, we understand it, but we're not going to do anything about it. So, we kind of took it upon ourselves that, well, it's not right. People are getting taxed incorrectly. So we reached out to an attorney and, started the lawsuit process in December of 2016. And then it finally, from a lot of back and forth with the Department of Revenue and the state of Pennsylvania, it finally came to pass in June, I believe 22nd of 2018, with 7 judges that oversaw the court case, ruling that, the letter of the law is essentially a full kit. It must contain heating element, battery, and a circuit for it to be taxed.
So roughly a year and a half, you guys fought this battle.
Yeah.
Do you know how much it cost you guys?
I don't actually. I don't know what the total was.
That's why I wish Ben was here.
Yeah.
Ben's the man. He's dope. Evan's a punk. No, I'm teasing. I mean, I'm busting your noise. But
Worth every penny at the end of the day.
well,
Because right now, people, when you came in today, that was actually a good customer of ours that I was talking to that is filing for his tax refund today for all of the products that he was incorrectly taxed for from October 1st of 16 through June 22nd of 18.
But the thing about Kingdom Vapor is they're a nice sized organization. But for a distro, they're a decent sized organization. But this isn't a Fortune 50 company. This is a very small business. I mean, I don't mean that in a pejorative
it's
way.
a mom and pop. I'm not blood family, but definitely I feel
It's kind of like Tiny
part of
Box,
the
where
family.
everybody treats each other like family. But to take on the state like that as such a small organization, I think that's something that as vapors we can look at, because I feel like a lot of vapors, and I think you might agree with me on this, they just kind of throw their hands up and go, oh, well, I'm going to DIY, or I'm going to buy it
build
on
my
the
own
street.
mods or black market, where it can feel like it's an uphill battle, but it's only an uphill battle if you don't get involved and you don't try.
Yeah. This is the owner right here, dude. We were just talking about you 10 seconds ago. This is Ben right here, owner of Kingdom Vapor. We were talking about your guys' lawsuit against the state, and just all the states right now, just advocacy stuff, all the states right now that are banning, and kind of talking about using your guys' model in their state to take on the state. We're talking about how you guys are a mom and pop shop. Not to diminish how well you've done and whatnot, but you're a small business, and you took on the state of Pennsylvania and won. And I think that's a breath of fresh air. I think a lot of people should know that. That should be your guys' story. We took on the state of Pennsylvania and we won. And not only did they win, they won for all of us. You know what I mean? And that's big. So gotta have a lot of respect for this guy. Gotta have a lot of respect for the company. We were just wrapping up by saying, what can you do in your state? And we'd said, talk to your advocacy groups. Work with your advocacy groups, and then start a class action with your advocacy groups against your state. And if you're thinking, hey, this can't happen, here's a guy right here who did it. And no offense to Ben, Ben's a nice guy, he's a smart-ish guy, but
smart-ish.
Far from. This isn't the Lincoln lawyer. This is just a normal person that was like, hey, you know what? I want to take on the organization. No, he takes care of his staff. He has a decent sized staff, but not a giant staff. No. A small-ish company that took on the state and won. All right, you guys, that's it. So that was Evan. The other fellow was Ben that I was talking about earlier. If that isn't a story of inspiration, I don't know what is, because this was the little guy, this was the David against the Goliath. He won. If you guys were wondering how to do it, I think we spell it out pretty well. Don't forget, join your advocacy groups. Shops and manufacturers, go to your advocacy groups and move with your advocacy groups to the attorney process, and then move from the attorney process to the litigation process. It worked in Pennsylvania. We won. We got our products lowered. We got our taxes lowered. We got our products back in our hands. And it's all thanks to Ben. And I'm not gonna lie, here's the last thing I want to say. No one gives Ben the credit that's due. I think Grim Green should be interviewing Ben. I think Mike Vapes should be interviewing Ben. I think the guys from Suck My Mod. I think the guys from All the big channels should be interviewing Ben, because this guy's a rock star. He doesn't look like a rock star. He doesn't act like a rock star. He's a very humble person, but he took on the government and he won. Who else can say that? And if you can't say that, then you need to follow this man's model. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Once again, Kingdom Vapor, thank you for letting me film there. Ben, big ups to you, man. Evan, big ups to you as well. And we'll see you on the next video.